So, Jack.
What's up, Joster?
You like D&D.
I love D&D.
I, too, love D&D. All of our listeners also love D&D.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
I mean, they should. If they don't already, then they should. So, we have this podcast that we record. It's called Metagamers Anonymous. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we take rules and subjects of interest and classes, and we talk about them and teach our listeners all about as many aspects of D&D as we possibly can.
If someone were to want to learn about D&D, how would they go about that?
Well, they go to patreon.com,
Patreon.com, #feeding the manticore will not get you there.
No, it's patreon.com /feeding the manticore.
In order to listen to Metagamers Anonymous on a regular basis, which we do this twice a week.
Yes.
No. Twice a month. Every other week.
Every other week, not twice a week. Good God. We can barely record enough to get it done every other week. If we did this twice a week, we'd probably end up killing ourselves.
Oh, I know. Twice a week, patreon.com /feeding the manticore. $1 per month grants you access to Metagamers Anonymous. So come on over. At the very least, you'll hear some pretty funny stories about what our players have thrown us into as DMs.
Indeed.
We are back to record another Night's Table. It's been like a month.
So many.
Or more months than one, maybe. I don't know. I have no
So many time.
I did remember that this was the Night's Table instead of some other episode.
That's great.
Yes.
Progress.
Yeah. There was much rejoicing.
Yay. Yay. It's been too long. We should go back in time and not skip all these weeks of recording.
I know.
If only there was a way we could go back in time.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
Oh, wait a minute. That reminds me of a movie.
Wait, is it a movie?
Well, originally it was a game.
I thought it was a sand.
Singular. I see what you did there.
Okay, so tonight we are talking about Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time and the Dagger of the Sands of Time and the Hourglass of the Sands of Time and all the things that contain sand.
Was it called the Hourglass?
Yeah,
It was just
the Hourglass.
Was it called the Hourglass? Okay.
It was very hourglass.
So it's the Hourglass, but then there's the Dagger of Time, and then there's a Staff of Time, and then there's another weapon or another tool of time.
There's I remember the staff.
Yeah, but the dagger was the only one that doubled as a weapon.
Yes, I mean I'm sure you could.
Well, you
use
can
the
beat
staff.
something.
Yeah,
with
so
a
you
staff,
can
but
always
the
smack
dagger,
someone around with a staff.
The dagger was the
Cast
only one
Shillelagh on
that,
it and call it good.
Yeah, Shillelagh existed in the Sands of Time, or the Prince of Persia.
I mean, he did have his his chains.
His chains.
Yes,
chains
and
of time?
no, there wasn't chains of time, but
Chains of space.
when he turned into we're delving into the
Okay, so we got the chains of space and the dagger of time. When you combine them,
You get an anomaly.
you get an anomaly.
Yes, it creates a singularity which causes a infinite loop of reverseness.
Yes. All right.
And everyone sounds funny.
Reverse.
Yes. And that's where the dance comes in.
Reverse.
All right. So, tell me.
Why don't you back that thing up?
What is the dagger? Because I actually never played the game.
Okay, so
Yeah, I think you're the only one that has.
I think I'm the only one that has played the game.
I've seen the game.
The game is actually a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed. Or like Assassin's Creed reminds me of Prince of Persia.
Yeah, Prince of Persia game
Because,
version.
yeah, Prince of Persia came out so long ago. Pretty much, he finds the dagger, but not in the way of the movie. The movie kind of like throws everything out of order somewhat. if I remember it.
Do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good
it's
for
a time
cinematic.
dagger, so of course everything's going to be out of order.
True.
Okay,
You do what you
you just
want.
explained the entire process. Now you guys know everything.
Well, I mean, for those of you who are listening, the time dagger or the dagger of time, pretty self-explanatory. It influences time.
Yeah.
But what I found really interesting with it is the way that it does. Because it contains the sands of time. Like it can harness them.
Now, do you know what the sands of time are?
Yes, I just found that out today, actually.
It was in the movie.
What is it?
So, pretty much it's the wrath
never saw
of the gods. You never seen the movie?
I
Oh.
have, but he hasn't.
You should have watched the movie prior to this.
Purely all of my stuff was based off of research.
So, super cool. So, a little bit into the backstory of Prince of Persia.
He was once a pauper of Persia.
Yes, he was.
It was like Aladdin before Aladdin was a prince.
Yeah.
Ah,
Before he found the genie.
before he found the genie, or in this case, a key. Pretty much, long before the story of the Prince of Persia, there was chaos through the land, and pretty much the gods were like, "Well, man can't survive because they're not doing anything good. There's no hope." It's pretty much like the Noah's Ark ordeal. It was like,
happens a lot.
"We kill them all."
Lots of people are like,
Men
yeah.
don't know how to people. We need to end them.
Pretty much. And
So
so,
not Jav and Will together.
That's the interesting thing.
Can I call it do-over? I like to call it do-over.
Ding!
That's a theme in a lot of movies. Is like man can't man, so we're going to abolish him.
Let's try that
Start
again.
over. Yeah,
Take two.
Yeah,
Humanity, take two.
Humanity, take 56.
probably more than that if we really are thinking about it.
That's true.
Especially if they have the same time.
We're gonna all get the afterlife one day and realize just how many times it really was.
And
then
No, really, I
we-
tried like 5,000 times and finally was like, you know what, screw it, go ahead.
Just do what you gotta do.
Like going into a different storyline, maybe humanity is on the 43rd because the answer to life and everything else is 42.
Yeah, 42.
So maybe there was 42 lives before this one.
Or maybe
Or
this
humanities.
or maybe this is the 42nd.
Oh,
that's why it's the answer.
That would be it. But then again, that was a different timeline, so we don't know where this one falls in line.
Maybe we have to make it to the 42nd reboot in order to figure out what the secret is.
The 42nd reboot is actually the Rapture. We figured it out.
And we have successfully gone from sands of time to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy
Yes.
in a single
To the
podcast.
beyond.
ADD for the win.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Beginning of time, end of time, all in the same podcast. That's what the Knights Table gets you. Right
You're
there.
welcome.
So we're talking about this
We figured
reboot.
everything out. Okay.
So this reboot, we don't know which one it is, but the gods were like, all right, we're gonna wipe out everyone with a huge sandstorm, and so they caused this huge sandstorm that are destroying everything. And
They had to do a sandstorm because they'd already promised not to do a flood. So.
Yeah. They said nothing about sand. It's like, oh, you want less water? How about just all desert?
All right, we tried pressure washing, so now we're just gonna sandblast.
What's next?
The
Find out
heat
the plot.
treatment.
The melt.
Yes, the heat treatment.
So they send this sandblast, and it's going through. It's demolishing everyone, and this young girl, she's like, "Take my life, but spare everyone else." Yeah, they suck, but take my life and spare everyone else. And so the gods kind of smiled on her.
She was, what was her name? Kalyan? Or
I can't remember her name,
it started with a K.
but
yeah.
she was the first keeper of the dagger. So pretty much the gods were like, all right, we're going to take all the sands that are about to kill you, put it into a time glass, or an hourglass, somewhat. It was a giant crystallized structure in the movie.
And every
this
30
dagger,
seconds you gotta flip it over, because if it empties...
you all die. That's really big.
Every 30 seconds.
So that also tells you she's also She-Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
Naturally.
So they put it onto this hourglass, and they give her a dagger. Dagger's not very sharp, but it's pointy, which is the only thing that can pierce this time glass. Well, it absorbs, or it pretty much removes some of the sands of time. At this point in time, it's the sands of time, and
At this point in time.
yeah, and they able to harness the ability because they give them more artifacts. Of course, they eventually give them the staff of time, and a couple other things which I can't remember off the top of my head.
The laptop of time.
Laptop of time.
Of course.
And the time turner.
They give them the
Yes,
from-
time turner.
Yeah, time turner.
Which moved into the British line of
That's right.
Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
The what is it? Prime Minister of Persia.
The Prime Minister, that's right.
Okay.
So
Go on.
and then they were given like the obligation to protect the dagger with their lives, and if all else fails, return it to the place its holding stone.
Wait a second. If all else fails, protect it with your lives, and if all else fails, you're already dead. You can't return it.
No, that's a stipulation. They didn't understand that.
Okay.
I'm recounting a tale, not giving orders.
Okay.
I would have given a little bit more thought. As
A
like,
little more clarification there. Wait.
But see,
When you say if all else fails,
but weren't they also told never to put the dagger into the sands of time?
no, not
then
at
it
the same
would-
time. Where the girl retrieved the dagger from, because where the dagger was placed is where the gods put it there, and that is the place where it can be secured. Because that was quite the distance away from the hourglass, because they wanted to keep it separate.
so if they put it back where the gods put it, it would not come back out.
Correct. But it also
Till King
would
Arthur
fulfill the promise of the little girls that many generations prior to, and it would take the life of the person that puts it back into place.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
And
So that's why if all else fails, because you're going to die anyway.
yeah, pretty much.
that makes sense. Okay.
Protect it with your life. And if all else
Right.
fails, give your life to protect it.
Or if you want to kill everybody,
Just
put it in the.
in the hourglass, just straight
And
up.
just straight up.
Yes. Just stat it.
And just release the sand of
Everybody
time.
has become evil.
That is like
we
the
just
ultimate
need to
nuke.
start over for the 5th time.
42!
So,
40-second rendition!
you're the chick holding the dagger, right? You're like realizing it's like you're at that all else fails moment, and you're like, all right, do I stick it in the stone and kill myself after a long journey that's probably not going to be fun? Or do I just go down underneath this city and stick it in the hourglass and everybody dies and the gods can try again? Yeah, either way, I
Reboot.
solved the problem.
Reboot!
I'm going for not the long journey. Bring me a steak. I'm going downstairs.
We just figured out like the ultimatum. Like we did it. Like they don't know what they're doing.
Myself, or do I kill everybody? Well, I mean,
If I have
If
to
it's-
die, I'm taking as many people with me as I can.
That really depends on the temperament of the person. Like, did,
They were chaotic.
did someone call that person's mother fat? Then
No,
we're all
everyone's dying.
Straight down. Kill my mother fat. Hourglass. Gah! Take it back.
Coming for you first!
So,
Okay.
so we have the dagger.
Yeah.
Now we're up to speed.
Yes. Now, what I found really interesting was that the dagger, and this is why I said that it doubles as a weapon. The dagger was the only thing that could kill sand creatures,
True.
which were created by the sands of time.
Yes. They were
Interesting.
they were kind of like the remnants. If
Yeah.
you think about like remnants of like time travel, when you think of the Flash,
Mhm.
when they make like time remnants, that's what the sand people are. Which, fun fact, when you activate the dagger, you become a sand demon. That's why his arm is all black and red, and that's why he can only utilize it for that short amount of time in the game.
Okay.
You can only use it for a short amount of time, otherwise your soul will pretty much be devoured. Because in the game, you can constantly use it.
This dagger just sounds like a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just all around is a bad idea.
Blame the gods.
Yes. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
So, I mean, one way or another, the world's going to end again.
We're going to let you live. Just don't touch this dagger.
Sort of.
This shiny dagger. We're going to put it
Just
right
don't put it in front of
here.
Roland. Or...
Don't touch it. This shiny dagger.
Don't touch this shiny dagger.
Even
Don't
though-
eat the fruit from this tree.
They're seeing a common
That's
Fail.
Don't press this button.
Dang it, 39.
Yep. That's what it is. It's the self-cleansing process. Don't push this button.
What is, out of curiosity, I've never
Red
played the
button.
video game. What is the video game rated? Right, like,
It's in.
so it is mature?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken. It might be teen.
I just, it's interesting to me because one thing that was interesting about the movie was that it was this, like, I thought the game was fairly intense, but I didn't know what it was rated. I'd never actually played it because this is like, but it was funny to me that the movie was not, it didn't seem as, like, it seemed geared toward a younger audience.
Yeah.
To
Which
me.
really surprised me.
Which, and part of that might just be that it was a
The
Disney
original
movie.
Prince.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was put
Yeah,
out by
look up
one of the arms of Disney, so maybe that's what it was. But
One of the many.
there's tons of them.
Disney.
Tons of those.
Disney's just
switching around.
Ursula. We know this.
Ursula's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Sarah's everywhere.
So-
And everywhere is
But that was interesting to me. It'd be like making an Assassin's Creed movie and gearing it towards like 13-year-olds, which
Yeah.
are probably the ones that are playing Assassin's Creed in all honesty.
But
But
Yeah.
still, you don't think of it as being geared for that age
Yeah.
Yep. Which I actually going to Assassin's Creed. I really like the way that they did it because it could be viewed by a younger crowd and they'd be fine with it.
But they also have a very a low key, like adult,
Mhm.
understood.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's an assassin. There's probably death
Well,
going on.
well, I mean, they've got the other elements too with his
Yeah.
parents and
Mm.
Yeah,
that
that's true.
thing.
Same thing with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Like it kind of it has a little bit of a deeper,
Mhm.
more adult oriented feel to it at times. Yeah,
Do
so
you-
it's in.
As one who played the game, do you feel like the movie, like to me, watching the movie, I felt like I was missing a lot of the story because they glossed over a lot of the backstory. I mean, we got a couple of like the princess or whatever told us some of it at one point,
Yeah.
or some Tiana,
Yeah.
whatever her name was. She told us some of it at one point, but really, like the backstory of what this was and how I didn't get that.
And
Do you
yeah,
think the movie was intending to be watched by people who were familiar enough with the game to already have that in mind?
I think you meant Tiamat.
No, I did not. That is not what I meant at all.
No.
Tamina.
That's it.
Tamina. That's her name.
So
That's
we're not
her, okay.
talking about the evil dragon.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's about the princess who actually had the dagger.
It probably was, because I was just looking up the game. It came out in 2005, and the movie came out in 2007. So
Yes,
Was
but
it
there's a lot of
2007?
aspects that, like, I can see where it was supposed to be like a side, but then again, it tries to utilize his backstory, and if you were to take a cliff notes of the video games, it could beat the movie. If you were to take the very basic cliff notes, bam, you know, you're there. You have like the video games. Whereas I didn't play the side scroller one. I played the 3D for the original Xbox. You know, back when that was popular.
Wait, they had a side scroller.
Yeah,
When
that was
did that come
that was where
Because I seem to remember something about that.
the side scroller was the first one.
1989.
I
89.
think I played that one.
Mhm.
What platform?
I'd have to go back.
Probably Nintendo.
So is the story that's in the movie in a story that's in one of the games?
Nintendo.
Yeah,
Nu-
I played that
Nintendo.
one.
Nintendo.
Nutella.
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
You play it on Nutella. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It tastes delicious.
What was your
The story, you know, Nazim trying to go back and destroy
That didn't really play a part in
the games?
In the game and for the Xbox. Now they also came out with the Sands of Time, or I think that's what it was considered. It was like the Sands of Time for the PlayStation. Not for PlayStation, I'm talking PC. I know they had it for the PC, and it was kind of a continuation of the video game. Because they introduced a lot of different aspects, and from what I remember, each game, the Prince has no idea what's going on, and then it's like, oh, what's this dagger do? Whoa!
I wish
So
you
in
could
every
see
game,
those.
he doesn't know what the dagger is
Pretty
until
much. It's like a
so it's not like
it's like a reboot every single time.
Which
And so
weird.
that wasn't
that's
that
that's
one.
just
No, I'm saying
a terrible way.
There's
to
there's a brand new one.
Well, yeah. Well, and even in the movie, when he does the whole
Sort of.
warp
2013.
back to the beginning of the movie, he still remembers what the dagger did and remembers everything that was.
Bruce.
It's not like he lost his memory or anything. So
Right.
it's interesting
No.
that they
It
did a reboot in the game like that.
it almost reminds me of the whole Legend of Zelda thing, where at the very beginning you don't know you're this hero, but by the end of it you are the hero. But
But
it's
you're always Link.
Yeah.
so in sidestepping to the game, there's a huge timeline. And Ocarina of Time is like the center point of the timeline of all the games, because they're all interconnected, and they split off into three different things, three different endings. Which, if in the end of Ocarina of Time, if Link won, that goes into one of them. If Link lost, he goes into another one, and if he didn't even fight it at all, he goes into the third one.
Okay.
Which he ends up like in the third one, he ends up like dying in the Lost Woods and becomes I forgot.
So, like, you got a bunch of parallel universes
You
in the one
you
game.
have, you have three different parallel universes.
You still good?
Yeah,
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
and so that's what I almost think is like it's different timelines, but the time dagger is always there.
Right.
It's just different times, different princes.
So here's the problem that I have with Link, though. He never hits puberty.
Right.
That's the major problem.
Well, he skips puberty with
Does
the
he?
with the
Mhm.
with when he pulls the
He becomes
sword.
an
he-
adult.
and he becomes an adult. So he pretty much
Yeah,
goes
but
from a
his voice
kid.
is still really high pitched, so I think he
Yeah.
missed some major.
No,
some major
as an
puberty.
adult,
That's what
as
happens
an-
when you skip puberty.
as
is
an
your voice
adult-
stays high.
Yes.
I mean,
Hey guys, I haven't lost my puberty yet. There it went. Well, we all know what happened though. Ganondorf stole his puberty. That's why he's like,
Wrong topic.
yes, but it's
So-
fun.
It's fun.
We should do a Zelda one sometime.
I know, we will.
Yes.
Definitely.
And I'll have to be
Let's
schooled
hear
on
from
Zelda.
the girl that owns the movie.
Yeah. Raja.
I own it because Disney sent it to me for free.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't actually buy it.
Wait a second.
How did you do that?
Yeah,
Do you know Disney?
I do.
Why did Disney send you the movie for free, and why won't they send it to me for free?
Yeah, for
It
real.
was like back when they had like rewards programs.
Oh.
So like if you like bought movies or if you I don't know,
She
they're,
was
like,
one of
rewards.
those.
Yeah, it was like you got so
Okay.
many points kind of thing, and then they
Yeah,
do
and you
something.
could like
That
choose
makes
certain
sense.
movies, and they had one on Prince of Persia was like 200 points, and I was like, Psh, yeah.
Nick.
That's
Nice.
how I also got Inception for free.
Oh.
Real quick, we never introduced ourselves. So you're Rasha.
Yes.
I'm rolling.
Sloth.
Aki.
And Justin.
Spanish.
So now we know.
Love it.
All right. So Rasha,
Mhm.
what did you think of it?
Well, Roland and I kind of discussed this when we rewatched it, but I like the movie overall as a concept, and I think that it's a really cool thing as far as the dagger and how he's able to travel through time and just like go back and looping and looping, and it kind of like trips people up when they realize what he's doing. Yes.
One of the things that's really interesting with the dagger, and it specifies this because I was doing some research on this, it specifies if you're holding the dagger
Mm-hmm.
or if you have used the dagger, you're not affected, like your memory's not affected by going back in time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool because you use the dagger, you go back in time. If you lose the dagger, if somebody else uses it or somebody else uses the Sands of Time to go back, you still retain your memory.
Mhm.
That's not true in the movie, though. They don't use that aspect because when...
That's just messed
Alright, so towards the end of the movie, Dustin gives the dagger to his brother and says, like, press the button on the hilt and you will understand what I've been trying to tell you. And then Dustin gets killed. And then his brother uses...
Okay.
Spoiler alert! If you guys haven't seen the movie...
No, spoiler alert for him!
So he uses the time dagger, and he comes back alive. But Dustin was like, "I'm gonna go kill myself now," and then like the brother like stops him and says like, "Oh, I just saw you die right before my eyes," and he's like, "Oh, good, you pressed the button." He doesn't utilize that aspect of
Yeah, but that's just bad writing.
that's the
He
movie's
does
problem.
know that he did things though. Like he knows that he's been doing this stuff, so he does retain his memory of it.
Not of
It's
him dying though.
He doesn't retain the memory of when other people do it, though.
Yeah.
That's
And so
the
that
difference.
uses
Well,
it.
different
he hadn't
aspect.
touched the dagger yet.
Yes.
It was at the
The
end
Prince of Persia
the-
had the dagger at the end of the movie. He gave the dagger to his brother. The brother pressed it. Then Destin was like, "Oh, good, you actually used it," because he was about to go kill himself again. If he had his memory, he would have like stopped, put his dagger down instead of
Yes,
trying to
but-
kill him again.
His point is that you remember what you went through.
No.
No.
No, it also...
Any of
the
this
research,
stuff?
yeah, the
Okay.
research that I did, it says
Okay.
specifically that if you have used the
I
dagger
misunderstood
and then
that part.
somebody else
Yes.
reverses time,
Okay.
you still retain all of your memories.
I was
and
thinking that you were saying that is like you
Well, if I ever
remember
get my hands
whatever
on the
you went
dagger, I'm using it
through,
one time.
even though the
Like-
Right.
Like even just to
Yeah,
go back 5 seconds, like okay.
my
good.
brain's really tired. Just ignore Rasha.
Okay,
You obviously have not used the dagger.
No.
Go on.
Where was I? So, concept-wise, I thought that it was cool. Clearly,
Was it worth 200 points?
it was totally worth 200 points because otherwise it was like crappy cartoons. Anyway, let's see. I kind of wish that it would hold more sand in the thing, but I totally understand like why it's limited. But then you have to go back and get more sand. And,
Such a process.
Such a process.
All you have to do though is get like her little necklace. Her necklace had some more sand.
Yes, but it's so little.
It's for a female. It's dainty. You get it for
What
like
they really need is one of the
Like a backpack.
the bling,
See,
like
I-
crosses.
I like the backpack.
That's what I
But
was
there's a guy that's always. Why do you always have that backpack on? No reason.
And then casually pulls out the spout to fill up the dagger.
Instead
like
of one of those
camelback,
like
guys.
yes, instead of a camel bag, just have like the sand and
So that's like a reverse camelback. Because,
yes,
okay.
dehydration. Anyway,
someone's gonna try using it.
So, like,
Timeline Nation.
Here's a question:
Yeah.
you carry the sand around with you, right?
Right.
Yes.
So then you empty your other container into your dagger, right? Right. I use the dagger to go back in time. Is my container full? It never
I'm
ends.
going to go ahead and say yes.
But we have to think about it though. In the video games, his never empties.
Mhm.
The dagger of time, and like the whole concept between the dagger and the whole giant hourglass never really came up in the video games,
Right.
because his dagger always refilled.
but it does in the movies because he like goes to use it and she's like, it's empty.
No sand for you. And then he's like grabbing sand from the ground
And putting it in the dagger, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
does that work?
No!
No.
Okay.
Because he didn't understand the concept and he just starts picking up sand and putting it and she basically laughs at him.
Yeah,
Except,
like,
well,
that's
she was pissed at the same time because she's like, you used it all, but like you used it all, like
Yeah.
Dummy.
you were such an idiot. But yeah, so that was good. I like there was a good amount of drama and there was dying and there was a hint of romance, which
And
And there was a
Yeah.
really
It was-
cool
it was-
knife thrower.
yes,
I remember
Chewbacca.
it was Disney. They
That
had to
that
have
made
just-
it. That made the movie right there. Have I told you of the Chewbacca? It's pretty much a tribe in the desert that
Yes.
never misses
Yep.
their aim. I'm like, how cool would that be to have like a D&D character? That's the Chewbacca. Like, he's a trained knife thrower. That's his skill.
Did you ever play? Did you play 3rd edition, 3.5?
Mm-mm.
They had prestige classes in 3.5, which when you got to a certain level, you could take these prestige classes and forgo your other class benefits, but it made you really good at certain things.
Yeah.
There was a prestige class for halflings that was basically that. They were called Whisper Knives, and they just became... They were like monks with knives, because when they threw their knives, they could do extra damage, and they had extra bonuses to hit. It's like they could not miss.
Nice.
So... When you say that, yes, there at least used to be one. I don't know if they'll bring it back.
That's what I would have done.
Of
with
course,
Debbie.
halflings in this version, if you take the right kind, they never crit fail, so
Right.
it's close.
You take a halfling and you give that halfling the lucky feat, and you basically always hit.
Yeah, there you go.
We have created a short Ubaka.
Yes.
Mini Ubakas, pocket size.
And he needs to have an ostrich as a pet.
Yes.
Because there was ostrich racing.
Oh yeah, the ostrich racing.
Oh man, I want to see this movie.
It's a fun movie.
Not the way
Good news,
giving
Rasha's
you
got it.
spoiler alerts.
Yes.
She'll let
Yes.
you borrow it for 50 points. 4 rentals and you've bought it.
You accept experience.
Yes, totally.
Yes, but require more than 50.
Give me some experience.
Yes. All right. So yeah, Sylvath gains an additional 500 experience.
You mean Rasha?
Rasha.
Sylvath, you rock.
I
You
know.
did nothing. You got experience.
Well, I mean, like considering in our
it's like
in our
you're sleeping
campaign,
with the DM or something.
I know, right?
I know nothing about what you're talking about.
That would get me more than 500, though.
Level up. Level up.
Why do you think I'm a whole level ahead of everybody in our one campaign?
Haters.
This is why she
Goodness.
never gets hit in games. Conspiracy theorists.
So now you need to DM.
It's like from the very beginning. Don't mess with the range.
All right. So, overall, good concept.
I thought it was a good concept. Hearing Roland talk about the game, I kind of want to go play the game and then watch the movie and see how much
Trying to
more
find
I
an
enjoy
Xbox
it.
is so difficult nowadays. At least trying to find a working controller.
If you want an
Xbox?
Xbox, I know
We're
somebody
selling ours.
who has one for sale.
I don't know.
We
It's
have
an
a
Xbox
360. We've got 2 controllers, 3 controllers. We've got 3, and a whole bunch of games.
So message us on the thread and we'll let you know how much.
I know. I shouldn't be buying stuff, but that's tempting. Just for that one game.
When's your birthday?
It's already past his
Last
birthday.
month.
Sucks to be you.
There is Christmas.
This like topic was
This was
birthday.
his birthday present.
Yeah.
It was us talking about Prince of Persia.
Really?
But it took us.
Happy birthday.
It took us a month.
Month.
Better late than never. Hold on, let me grab this dagger. We'll go back and celebrate.
You're gonna be clicking that button. You're gonna be clicking that button for a long time. Click.
Yeah,
click,
unfortunately,
click,
we're in the
click.
south and there's no sand here.
There's clay.
Yeah, there's clay.
What happens if you put clay in the dagger?
It gets
It
clogged.
stops time.
Yeah, no, it starts going and
It
then it
moves
goes.
forward really slowly.
Everything turns red.
Cheeto hands.
Sylvain, what was your opinion of the concept?
I really like the concept, especially now that I know more about the whole background of it with the game and stuff, because I'm kind of like, Rosh, well, I don't know. I'm basically just kind of like, I was confused on a lot of the stuff with the dagger while I was watching the movie, but the movie was good, and so I didn't particularly care, but it did bother me that I didn't know a lot about it. But otherwise, it was a good concept.
Well, now we can watch it with a better understanding, and you can not be as confused, and I can be
Totally confused.
totally confused.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
It would be interesting to hear.
She already did it.
Already been.
She went first.
She did. It'd be very interesting. I'd love for you to watch it, y'all to watch it, and then hear what you have to say about it after you researched and heard this but had never seen it, and then
Yep.
you watch it and see
Yeah.
where
Not
it
that we
lands.
haven't given you spoilers, though, so.
I know, but I'm okay with spoilers.
But that's
Okay.
but that's part of what would make his opinion of it interesting.
I still think there's
like have we built it up too much? Does he go into it too many expectations, or does the background that he has make it even that much more interesting to him?
I don't think we've given him too many spoilers.
Not like super
super
spoilers.
large spoilers. Like
And we didn't tell him about like the giant undead dragon that chases him through the
Yeah.
desert at one point.
Of
So I mean,
course.
he doesn't know about that.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
Yeah, obviously.
The sand demons, though.
For
those
all
things are-
you know,
It's the
that
giant
happens.
undead ostriches.
Yeah.
They're coming back for
Down
vengeance from the ostrich races.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and close up. This is fun. I like this. So, yeah, this was the Knight's Table, Prince of Persia.
And if you're
Overall
curious,
recommended.
it is round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recommended.
Good Cliff.
Recommended,
Yes.
yes. Especially for 200 points.
I will
Listeners,
let you borrow
if-
it from my shelf.
Yes.
For 200 points.
For 200 points, you can borrow it from Rasha's shelf.
Also, you have to throw in there 2 other people to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, literally
Yes.
throw 2 people at us.
And maybe some tips. I like
Yes.
tips.
That may be the wrong words to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It always is.
On that note,
no, bye.
good night, everyone.
And the podcast just got rated.
Night.